Hey moviegoers, Dimitri Panos here with another episode of the Cinescope, movies under a new lens. In this episode, I'll be discussing Imaginary. Imaginary is a concept horror movie in desperate search of a third act and some scares. I think of Imaginary as Ted 3, Fever Dream, minus the ribald humor and the Bostonian accented quips. Compared to Ted, though, this bear, named Chauncey, has the personality of the discarded stuffing found at a Build-A-Bear workshop. Imaginary starts off well enough. Famed children's book author Jessica, played by DeWanda Wise, moves back into her family childhood home, with her new family. Jessica has a loving, caring husband and two stepdaughters who haven't quite yet warmed up to her. The youngest being Alice. She's filled with precocious creativity and curiosity. And then there's disgruntled teen Taylor. Not quite a functional family yet, Jessica hopes the move will bring her closer to her stepdaughters and to her ailing father who's been put in assisted living. Little Alice, upon exploring the basement of her new home, finds a teddy bear. She instantly becomes attached to her new imaginary friend. It's here that Imaginary delivers the most creeps, as Alice's bond deepens to the point where she gives Chauncey a voice. This voice promises friendship and protection. To strengthen their bond, Chauncey creates a game, a scavenger hunt. He promises Alice, once she obtains all the objects and performs the actions, he'll take her on a magical trip to where he's from. Jessica notices that this relationship is turning from innocent to sinister. She sees Alice attempting to check off boxes that will cause her physical harm. Realization that Chauncey isn't your average stuffed bear begins to sink in. Jessica's once happy place, her family home, is now slowly turning into a house of horrors. It was, as I said, a promising setup that even includes a solid story twist that was creepily interesting. And then all of the stuffing came out of that bear. I can't recall a movie in recent memory that so falls apart in the third act. It feels as if director and co-writer Jeff Wadlow, along with writers Greg Erb and Jason Ormland, had no idea where to go. The movie then leans into the psychologically surreal, utilizing seemingly jettisoned dream sequences from the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. But Imaginary's biggest sin? It becomes laughable instead of frightful. There was a point where I believed the movie was going to end, and had it, I would have thought it a bold, albeit a risky move to end where I believed it to be. And I would have given the movie a little bit more credit for that attempt. But no, that doesn't happen. Instead, it resorts to a plot thread literally taken from another Wes Craven thriller called Red Eye. Well, the cast does their best with the material they're given to work with. DeWanda Wise as Jessica is really the standout here. She's moving up from support in Jurassic World Dominion to the lead. I hope Hollywood recognizes her fresh face and talent and doesn't hold this movie against her and keep her from more leading roles. Betty Buckley, well, she's once again relegated to the horror movie eccentric old lady role, whose character could have easily been called exposition, because that's all she does is spout. And boy howdy do I mean spout explanation. It is truly the only reason the character exists. Tegan Burns as teen Taylor plays angry teen as good as any. And I will refrain on commenting on Piper Braun, the young actress who plays Alice. I find it distasteful when criticism potshots are aimed at children. It's really not their fault. But I do place blame directly on screenplay and direction for making her look as if her character comes from a bad 80s family sitcom, the character that spouts the show's popular catchphrase. I feel bad for director Jeff Wadlow because he seemingly gets the Blumhouse scraps, but he had a hand in writing Imaginary. I could see the execs at Universal snickering for allowing Lionsgate to make the deal to release this movie. Because at best, Lionsgate, imagining they have a new franchise, will steal an opening weekend gross, and then reality will set in that this bear crapped in a movie theater. And speaking of movie theater, I have to mention my experience at this press screening. Because sitting next to me was a fellow reviewer who was frequently taking out their cell phone and typing into it. It was happening so constantly, it was beyond distracting. Look, I don't like conflict, but something needed to be said. So as politely as possible, I asked the person to stop because it was very bothersome. The person did apologize, doused the light, but went on to explain the phone was being used to take notes. Really? As if that's better than texting? Notes on a cell phone that shines like a lighthouse in a crowded, darkened movie theater? Can one be so selfish and obtuse to believe it wouldn't bother anyone? And this behavior from a movie critic of all people. To me, this is a sad sign that many have become too accustomed to watching movies in their living rooms. Look, it's bad enough when this happens with a general audience. I found it much worse knowing the bad behavior was coming from someone who's supposed to espouse the movie-going experience. A movie, good or bad, I will always champion that movie-going experience, even after watching a movie like Imaginary, which had me imagining I was watching another movie. And because of that person, I further was imagining that I was watching another movie, a better movie, in another theater. I give Imaginary, well, the finger, because it made me angry. Could you imagine that? Well, hey, folks, thank you very much for clicking in and watching this. If you did make it to the theater to watch Imaginary, I'd be very curious to know what you thought of the movie. So please comment, like, and be so kind and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. This is a whole brand new revamped, my new revamped YouTube page, the Cinescope. So looking to build up that following again, and I hope you enjoy the review. I will have more in the days and weeks to come, so please stay tuned. I appreciate you, and I'll see you at the movies.